Okay, good noon, United fans all over the world, and especially to our Filipino United fans, whether here in the Philippines or in some of the country you're based in. So welcome to season two of Pinoy Shetland Ender. Here's our truly Jeff as your host today, and we have four other diehard United fans in the panel for our season two opener. Of course, we have Kent, we have Carl, and we have Julio, and then our debutant for today, we have G, our fantasy football extraordinaire. No? So, Premier League season kicked off last night. Good for us United fans, but Arsenal being Arsenal. So, my first question to the panel, and welcome back to everyone anyway. Welcome back also to our viewers who are tuning in. Please join us in the comment section. And then if you're also of course, in YouTube, please like and subscribe. Okay. Right. So welcome back to the panel. It's been a busy off season, fairly, because of the Euros, and then we have the Olympics. And for United, we had a pretty decent transfer window, if you ask me. But I wanted to check on the viewpoints of our panelists in terms of our transfer window. Relatively, compared to the other seasons, medyo okay siya. But uh, are we seeing any other additions, or is this good enough? If we grade them, like if it's an A or an F, how do we grade them? Can we start with you, Ket? How do we find our transfer window so far?
First of all, magandang tanghali sa lahat ng fellow Pinoy Stretfordenders natin. It's good to be back and it's good to see the start of another Premier League season. And I'm excited. Regarding our recent summer transfer window, if I grade it, it'd be a solid B. Um, Heading into the summer transfer window, tatlo yung kailangan nating punan. Central defense, sa offense, sa striker or winger, and defensive midfield. So napunan natin yung first with yung extra attacker or winger in Jadon Sancho. Then napunan natin yung central defense natin with Rafael Varane na hanggang ngayon hirap pa na di natin alam kung kailan i-announce ng management. But the question here is kailangan natin ng versatile na defensive midfielder kasi Oli likes to play double pivot, and nakita natin last season that McFred isn't really cutting it, and as many United fans and observers say, we will never win a Premier League title with Scott McTominay and Fred manning the midfield every single match. Sa ngayon, ito yung concern kasi malaki-laki yung nagastos natin compared to the other transfer windows. The last time we had a very good transfer window was 2016, 2017 when we had Pogba, Zlatan, Mkhitaryan. Yun yung masasabi ko na talagang pinakamabigat na transfer window natin over the past 5 years. Pero it comes close, pero hindi natin mapunan yung kailangan na defensive midfielder. Especially we need to shield our defense. Extra safeguard ang pagkakaroon ng defensive midfielder. Sa tingin ko, in terms of if they'll gonna sign before this window ends, lingering yung rumors with Eduardo Camavinga. I hope it's true. Kasi kailangan talaga natin ng defensive midfielder. Baga, pag nakuha natin yun, Camavinga, or another good DMF, and then add it with Varane and Sancho, we'll have a very good window. Napunan natin yung mga kailangan na gaps for the tough competitions ahead.
Right, Ken. I think United fans all over the world, especially the ones on Twitter, Facebook, they do, yung wish list nila na can please sign defensive midfielder, right? And Kamavinga has been on the radar for the past window. My issue with Camavinga is he's a bit young, and he's also the same type as like Sina McTominay, Fred, who likes to go up and down. I mean, I don't mind if they have that skill set, diba? But of course, you want someone like of a Matic archetype, you know. I mean, marami nagsasabi doon na if Matic was really just a little bit younger, you know, with the legs and the speed, then he would suffice. But you know, he's 33 years old now, so parang hindi na siya ubra, no. Coming to our debutant G. Speaking of the transfer window, I think we have 2 or 3 weeks left in that window. And there have been, I mean, everyone's always linked to United, whether it's pang pantaas ng fee or pampataas ng sweldo. Everyone's being linked to United. But for you, sinong gusto mong masay ng United sa defensive midfielder role?
After-
So,
Good
there you go.
afternoon pala sa lahat. For DMF role, I think NDD or Neves ako eh. Kasi sila yung parang tingin ko na makakapag-help sa atin sa within midfield. And then pang support din kay Harry tsaka kay Varane if ever. Yun lang.
Okay, si Indeed and Neves parang ano rin, no? Madalas din silang na link sa United, especially with the Leicester link. And then si Neves, we have that. I don't know if you saw that, no? Si Bruno nagpalit ng cover photo and then si Neves yung nasa background. So pati yun na puna, no? Ikaw, Carl, if you were to choose your defensive midfielder, who would you prefer to sign?
Sa akin siguro, tama si G. It's Neves or ano talaga siya, Neves or Neves, sa akin talaga Neves talaga yung bagay kasi may experience sa Premier League. Then, hindi naman siya kailangan na physical. Tapos, hindi siya ganun kamahal. Para makapaglaro na rin tayo ng 4-3-3, we really need someone na hindi lang siya puro hindi lang defense yung ginagawa niya. Kaya niya rin can spread the play from left to right, lalo na may magagaling na yung attackers natin eh. Tapos, kaya ring sumuporta kila Varane at kay Harry. Kasi yung mangyayari dyan, I can feel na once magkaroon tayo ng CDM, mag-4-3-3 na tayo eh. Kaya na natin i-support yung 4-3-3. Hindi na tayo nakaasa sa double pivot na McFred. Tapos makaka-attack na tayo against the smaller teams and even the bigger teams na dati takot na takot tayo. Lagi tayong either back 3 or McFred. So ngayon, yun talaga sana, Neves talaga sa akin. Hindi this out of the question since masyado siyang mahal and I don't think we will spend again after spending that much for Sancho. Buti nga nakatipid tayo kay Varane eh. So I think Neves would fit very well sa squad natin.
Okay, I'd like to welcome to the stream si Gab, fresh from school. Fresh from school.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for inviting.
Julio, taking off from Carl's preference for Neves, do you agree? Do you agree that Neves would be a good fit in terms of our need for a defensive midfielder, or do you prefer someone else?
Based from, good afternoon pala sa lahat. Based from, let's say if we want to base it on the recent friendlies, which I think it's very decent. It's been a very decent sequence of games naman na everyone's had their legs warmed up now for the upcoming season, especially for the kids. I think Neves would be a really good fit compared to the other midfielders that were linked to United for the past 12 months or so. Kasi they've thrown names like, of course, si Camavinga, si Ndidi. You also have the odd Saul Niguez link. Amongst all of those four midfielders, Neves would be the sensible choice at this point in time. Ole has experimented kasi with the double pivot and the single pivot na these past few friendlies, and they work to a T. Kumbaga, it's becoming a favorite word of mine na to a certain point, depending on the game's needs kasi. Pero in general, I believe Neves is the better fit talaga amongst the others, being linked to United. Not only he can cover for the likes of, let's say, Paul Pogba, or give more freedom to the likes of Bruno Fernandes, in which that picture that you mentioned that was kind of cheeky. Uh, it would also provide a bit of competition na din for the other midfielders. Hopefully, it will make McTominay, Fred, and Van de Beek step up their game whenever the need arises, since mahaba yung season. Eh. So if he comes in, then why not? But at this point in time, as far as the transfer window activity is concerned, I feel that the club still needs to sell or to let go some of the players even on loan to make it happen. We're possibly seeing a possible logjam pa kasi with the midfielders. Eh. Even if he comes in, kahit sabihin na natin maging automatic starter siya. But given his Premier League experience, which is an absolute key for this team and for the all of the possible combinations Oleg that can think of for it to work, then yes, Ruben Neves is a better fit talaga, more than the others. So if he does come in, then I hope it does work, and we'll be more than excited and more than happy to see it happen if it does.
Come to think of it, no, like couple of seasons ago, parang yung midfield natin sobrang nipis. Tapos ngayon naman sobrang dami na bigla, no?
Oh,
But, oh, di ba? So, Gab, I'm going to, given if, the Glazers are always short selling their promises, and they've made good with their promise with Sancho, and then they brought in Varane, but then again he's not officially announced. And then we have Heaton, was a very good signing if you ask me. If ever you don't sign anyone, who do you think in our ranks, because we have a lot of midfielders, who do you think in our ranks would uh, be the best option, best of the rest in terms of that holding midfield position?
I have a soft spot for Scott McTominay, but I am hoping that James Garner be our future. So sana he can be yung pamalit and does some cup runs with us. Um, but I think it should be Fred tuloy. It should be Scott. Because
Pihirito sana
uh,
ako, Fred. Lang.
sorry. Na ano eh. Yeah, it should be Scott. Mainly because I don't think he's just a holding midfielder. I think I think his build right is there. Kailangan nila magpamuscle up ng konti. But I think he can also become box to box, as you can see, diba? I mean, he started as a striker when he was in the academy. So my hope is he can be a mainstay if the Glazers don't get someone. I'm hoping that we are as opportunistic as was Varane. Iniisip ko sana si Idrissa Gueye kung payagan ng Paris because of Messi coming in. But they do need the 6 as well. So, not sure if they're gonna release him. But if ever hindi mangyari, Scott is the mainstay. I really hope that James Garner gets the games he needs because he's the future. He's the future.
Alam mo, I was about to say just before you came in, like Garner should be. I personally believe Garner should be given a chance before we let him go out on loan. So
Is he on
hopefully,
loan na ba? Hindi pa?
Not yet.
Hindi pa
Not
naman,
yet,
no?
yet.
Okay.
Ang may loan rumors ngayon, well, sana kunin ng Crystal Palace is si Ahmad. That would do him a ton of good if he gets regular games. We've seen him for. I don't know if you've seen the Ivory Coast games in the Olympics, but he's been pretty good. Before we move on, let's say hi to our viewers. So Kevin Estrada is tuning in. Hello, Mr. Shopee kanina. So Dennis, hey Dennis, good afternoon. He's giving an 8 of 10 for our transfer window. Attorney Arcelia is tuning in. And then we an opinion here from Dan. McTominay can play. I mean, McTominay is really just a versatile player. Parang konti na lang parang Fletcher, O'Shea siya. No? Then again, that's like jack of all trades but master of none. But then I see, they were a different level, I guess. Sabi naman ni Ryle, need magpakaborta si Scott. Yung magpakaborta. Can you explain? Can anyone explain?
All terms yan pa.
Magpakaborta. Ano yan? Sige nga, Julio, can you elaborate? Magpakaborta.
In Galingo terms, as far as our office is
Okay, okay.
concerned, yeah, kailangan mo palaki pa ng husto ng katawan. That's
Si Scott?
practically it.
Putak
Oh,
ina.
yeah, si Scott.
Nakita ba yung
Yun
ab si
talaga.
Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Kaya ab si Scott. Anyway. Lingard. This is an interesting question. Anyone can chime in. Is Lingard supposed to be sold, or will he be useful? Will he be useful for the season?
Ako muna sasagot.
Go,
Sige,
go,
sige.
go.
Sino ako? Ako ba
Go,
muna?
go. Sige.
Okay. With Lord Lingard, with Rashford out for at least several months, I think he can grab that opportunity. And if he can score goals, that would be a big boost for us.
Actually, feeling ko, we have too many confidence guys. Like, kumbaga, if they're on, they're on. But if not, parang hirap silang to recover. Lingard is one of them. Pogba, Marshall also. Those three. Parang they're all confidence guys. Anyone else who wants to chime in about Lingard?
I do.
Sige, Julio and then Carl. Yung buwan.
Maganda na nakabalik si Lingard in high spirits. It's a good thing na na-point out mo yung pagiging confidence type of player niya. Siya, Martial, and Pogba. It's a good thing, I guess, that some of the players are starting to shed off that kind of, let's say, reputation or yung tendencies nila na umasa sa confidence nila for them to play better. With Lingard, kasi it's a tricky situation, I think, because of his age. He's not a young player anymore. So he has to play regularly. With Rashford out, there's a chance for him to prove himself na pwede naman siya makapaglaro. Not exactly as a starter though. That remains to be seen kasi Marshall just got back. And as far as the previous games from last season is concerned, Paul Pogba can also play on that left wing or left midfield spot if it needs to be. With him back, all he has options now. Pero it's a case na lang as to whether will he be given the chance to start immediately, given na wala pa si Rashford, and how will he fit with the likes of course, with the very accommodating Bruno Fernandes in the midfield positions, in the central attack and midfield positions. It remains to be seen. Tapos nandiyan pa si Sancho, which is to the club's credit, it's a job well done that they were able to get him the earliest that they could, given how long the transfer saga was. But it remains to be seen kasi as to how will they mix up well in the upcoming season, given na kailan sila nakapaglaro na maayos that preseason game against Everton. The signs are promising, pero it's I guess time will tell as to how will they meld in the next, give it 5 games, I guess. We'll see how it pans out. Mahaba naman yung season Pero come a time kasi na when Marcus Rashford kasi returns, it's a question of will he be willing to warm the bench if it needs to be, given the number of options that Oli has. We're not even mentioning Daniel James that much. So who can also play both on the left and the right. So it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen at this point in time.
All right. Thanks, Julio. Okay. Before we move on, Carl, your thoughts on Lingard?
I think it's time for him to go on other clubs. It's time for him to think about his career. Kasi I know he loves the club, pero he has to think about his career. He's 28. He hasn't played that regularly. Di ba pag different nung kay Mourinho lang naman siya talaga nag-blossom, tsaka kay early parts of Ole. He needs to think of his career since sabi niya nga he takes care of his family, his mother and his siblings. He has to play regularly. He's 28. He has to establish himself, maybe get one last big contract from the middle clubs, maybe Everton or the tier down so that he could play regularly. He needs it regarding the left wing naman, for me, I think we have Ilanga. So, I think mahirapan talaga si Lingard lalo na in Donny's coming back strong with bigger body to play in the Prem. So, I think Lingard has to go. Too much confidence players. I think it wouldn't cut. Dapat 1 or 2 lang meron sa squad natin, pero we have at least 3. So I don't think that's good. We have to let him go. And he has to go.
Okay. Actually, business-wise, we have to sell really, in a business sense. And I think the Glazers that's what they really prioritize. And to be fair to them, we've been, we have a net positive income and we've been doing transfers and we don't have any, kumbaga partida yung meron silang dividends. Like some other clubs who have, you can get cash injections from the owners, but dito, wala tayong ganun. So, Kent, given the current situation, the transfer window performance that we have, the players that we have, the players that we might let go, how do you see us panning out this season? What are the worst and best case scenarios for you?
Worst case scenario would be out of the top 4 and not winning anything. Yun ang worst case scenario for me. Because we might have a very good transfer window, but Manchester City and Chelsea just made some marquee signings, and before that, they already had decent lineup. So you have to consider that. Then Liverpool, they are almost healthy na ulit ng lahat ng players. And they added Ibrahima Kognate to strengthen their defense. Leicester is always a challenge. They are good in getting value signings like Somare, and they good backup in Bertrand, and they just got Yannick Vestergaard. So they're time will say if they can be consistent enough to make the top 4, pero they'll be a challenge for United as well. And sa Spurs, I really think na para magiging wild card yung Spurs because they made some good signings. Then Nuno is like a breath of fresh air to the White Hart Lane. So let's see what happens. So yun, worst case scenario would be out of the top 4 without winning anything. Best case scenario would be 21 and 22. Yes. Pero I can being realistic, I think we can really mount a title challenge. It just comes down to signing another player. Yun nga, yung either Neves or Ndidi, to make sure that we are deep enough. Pati yung balasa ni Ole and the consistency of the players. Marami nagsasabi we might get third. Realistically, that's not bad, second or third for me, because I know na mahirap talaga considering other clubs are splashing the money, but I would want us to have a very good cup run, either FA Cup or League Cup. It is kayang-kaya natin ipanalo yon, and I think it will be a confidence boost for this emerging young core that Ole is developing. So yun.
Alright, thanks, Kent. We go to Gab. Gab, medyo natin kasi Gab eh. How about you? Kasi on paper, since Liverpool didn't do squat during the transfer window, Tottenham Hotspur is a wild card. Same status as Leicester. Leicester's gotten Patson Daka, Sumare, Vestergaard. Although Fofana got injured in preseason. That's a terrible tackle, by the way. What do you think? What's our worst case? Realistically, what's the worst possible scenario for us and the best case possible scenario for United?
That since you mentioned the Liverpool transfer, the transfer spending this month, I just wanted to say Klopp, you toot 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 kasi di ba parang sinabi niya pa na I don't understand how Man United spends, bro. We buy this stuff, merchandise, media. I mean, come on, do not compare. You cannot compare the business acumen of Manchester United. I mean, even Yes, and even this guy who's going out, diba? I mean, whatever we can say about who's that? No, actually, nakalimutan ko na agad. I've forgotten his name. I mean, he's good, right? Even if hindi siya magaling sa football sense. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, you guys missed titles for how many years, and Manchester United is still ubiquitous. So do not compare, okay? So I just wanted to say that, okay? Kasi medyo kapal na mukha eh. Okay, but going back to your main question, worst case scenario, ay, please lang. Worst case scenario, fourth. Okay, for me that's the worst case scenario. If outside the Champions League, knock on wood na ako. Best case scenario, we challenge City until the last 2 weeks. Because I think this last season we challenged them, or we have a semblance of a challenge. What was it? What mga 10 weeks to go, 8 weeks to go, no?
We led
Uh,
nung Christmas and New Year as far as I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. Pero parang yun na yung pinaka, parang that's the
Parang sagad na
latest na
natin
parang
eh.
they,
Oo.
that they can feel us. For me, the last 2 weeks, best case scenario. Then, of course, anything can happen for me. Like, I don't want to say 21 is coming. But for me, if we challenge in the last 2 weeks, anything can happen. Right?
Sorry about that. Okay. So speaking of, City has pretty much always Team A, Team B, so they can always challenge in forefronts. Chelsea made some pretty big signings. Even taking back Lukaku, I don't understand why. Um, Siguro, will they retain his diet from Italy? I don't know. But given the emergence of Chelsea, in terms of reloading for the season, uh, how big of a how big of a hurdle is Chelsea in terms of us challenging City? G, what are your thoughts? Will Chelsea be a consist? Well, will they be a thorn in our side, or kakayanin pa ba natin talaga sila? You're on mute, G. You're on mute.
Sobrang matas yung sorry. So regards to Chelsea, mataas yung expectations nila since kakawin lang nung UCL and then yung Super Cup. I think siguro magcho-choke sila mid-season pa lang. And di natin pa sure kung ilang goals gagawin ni Lukaku. Yun.
Especially sa big teams, I think.
Yes.
That's always been Lukaku's problem, no? With the deep lying teams, parang wala. Parang magcho-choke sila. We have a question from the chat, no? From Vince Zafra. If we still win no trophy this season, is it over for Ole? Carl, what's your thought on that?
I think so. Because he was given already many transfer windows, the money, the support, albeit not full, but he has the resources. He has to at least win one, kahit League Cup, kahit Champions League, or kahit hindi pa league or FA Cup. He needs to win at least one this season. That's a big requirement, I think. Kahit nasabihin mong in-extend yung contract niya, I think considering the resources, the team that we have now, we should really win something. Disappointment pag wala. And maybe he has to go if wala pa rin talaga.
Wow, has to go talaga. How about you, Julio? No trophy, over for Ole, or what?
Regardless of whether Ole wins a trophy or not, I think the pressure will be on him as far as us fans are concerned. As for the Glazers, however, I think he will be able to stay for one more season even if it goes sour. If it goes south. Probably the worst case scenario, I would go back to sa sinabi ni Gab na fourth. Pero given how resourceful Ole has been from last season, I think he will stay pa rin, regardless of we win a cup or not. But the signs are encouraging. We've been to the Europa League final. Sayang lang talaga natalo sa penalties. Parang nandun na eh. Konti na lang eh. It's all about addressing certain inconsistencies na lang within the squad, all those injuries. possible future COVID protocols, touch wood. So those things needed to be addressed. So it all falls on Oli's lap to address those things. Yung response na lang, I guess it will depend on how will he perform in the next 10, 15 games. Yung first half nung season na muna. And how far will he go sa mga cup tournaments na to. I mean, United are in the Champions League. So that's a almighty matter altogether. I would also like to go back din dun sa yung na-mention nyo about Chelsea. Personally, for me, they've always been a threat since time immemorial. Even during the glamour days under Claudio Ranieri, they just needed someone lang talaga na kailangan lang talaga sumuporta sa kanila in a financial sense. That's how they got their players. That's how they got their recent success and all that stuff. With recent times kasi they got a high pedigree coach in Thomas Tuchel. He's also a very resourceful coach. With the teams that he's managed, may konting buenas din given the resource that he got kasi with PSG. But with Chelsea kasi, I think it's pretty much more of the same. The difference is yung weapons, the kind of weapons he has with the Blues kasi right now, mas loaded sila ngayon sa attack. It's almost similar to United with the kind of players that they have with Mason Mount, you have Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, even if he misfires, and now they got Lukaku. There's even talk na that they can't even afford loaning out Tammy Abraham, who's also a good player naman din for them, pero may pagka-Danny Welbeck-ish kasi siya maglaro at times medyo nag-choke in crucial periods but they will be a threat. It's only a matter of, let's say, I guess, consistency on how they will be able to come out with ways on how to rotate their system in a team that revolves around initially supposedly kay Kai Havertz, pero nangyayari naging influencer nila si Mason Mount. So it remains to be seen. As for United, I'm sure they will see them as a threat. Pero this time around, with the kind of players that United has, as long as they're healthy, especially if Sancho and Varane are healthy, then definitely United will be up for the challenge. I think they'll be able to come up trumps. Most likely, league double yan. That's how I see it.
Actually, if you think about it, though, why cups are seemingly hard to win is because one, of course, it's a one-off. Well, if you lose, you're out. Secondly, you have to have that depth. Kasi, priority talaga is league. If you don't have that
That's right.
kind of depth, na second, third, four levels down, you're good. Baka mahirap talaga mag-league cup, lalo na if kalaban mo, pare. Salford City or Blackburn or mahirap din or Portsmouth for that matter. Anyway, so that's for the season. Hopefully we get 21-22. Hopefully we get a trophy at least. Then again, our missing piece right now is a defensive midfielder. All right, so before we wrap up the episode, big game coming up. Rose Derby against Leeds away. How are you feeling? Gab, let's go with you. Bielsa extended. He's got this club up and running. He's rebooted the culture. Now they're more of a wild card. Kumbaga, they can be good, they can be bad, but they'll always be a challenge in terms of the derby, especially with United. So, what are your thoughts on the game later?
Well, I think I'm definitely excited, ready to be surprised, mainly because, well, we've only seen one preseason where we had a semblance of the team that will come out, during the match, right? But I mean, the 4-0 win against Everton, I think, just can only give us confidence. Bruno being back on the score sheet just helps a lot. But for me, the X factor definitely. I don't know. There's rumors that Sancho will start. Will he? Won't he? But I think that he will be really bringing the energy to the game, and that's what I'm looking forward to. When I look at Leeds United's preseason, they had a draw versus Villarreal, diba? So parang, malakas, but they lost to Real Betis then. So, so din sila. So I have a good feeling that we're just nearing that fitness, the excitement. So definitely confident, but ready to be surprised because we don't know what Ole will bring about. Bigla na namang McFred yan eh. Or even Daniel James, no, because he has multiple preseason games under his belt. But yeah, I mean, overall for me, outside of what I've said, I'm just so glad football is back. Like Olympics, nasakto football right after, no? It's like the sports gods has really thought na, okay, we have a pandemic, but you have sports. So here you go.
Good one. How about you, Kent? What are your thoughts on the game later?
First of all, we should not expect another 6-2. Malaki na yung in-improve ng Leeds United under kay Bielsa. They had, yun nga, as per what Gabby said, they had a decent preseason, but for United, we had a very good preseason as well. So ano yan I might see us sneaking it. Not by much, but at least we're gonna have a very good performance, especially coming off an emphatic preseason win over Everton against that side na medyo nagiging decent na rin. It gives us a very good boost ahead of the season kickoff. Would watch out for Sancho if he becomes involved, and siguro hyped ako na onti kay Donny after uh his improvement. Nakita natin yan nung preseason, and I hope he's gonna have some role in this game. But overall, kung sino man yung i-field na team later ni Oli, I hope they do good, and I expect like maybe a 2-0 win, 3-1 win.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden doesn't start, but he goes into like 60 minutes. Just because, yun ang kulang natin last year eh. Kaya tayo na din natalo sa Villarreal. Like, we put out the best 11 out there and then wala na. Wala nang plan B.
That
So
would be horror,
hopefully,
no? 65
yeah.
minutes, plus Jadon Sancho running on your defense.
Oo, di ba? So, yun yung, I wouldn't mind if he doesn't start, actually. Although, syempre, OA yung mga tao sa Facebook and Twitter. Right? All right, so to wrap up, score predictions, everyone, for the game later. G, and start with you. What's your score prediction? I think I'm mute. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Score for first picture, 3-0. Bruno, Donny, Sancho. Off the
Confident,
bench.
confident. Confident, 3-0. Thanks, G. How about you, Carl? Oh, you're on mute. Yeah.
I think 4-1. No clean sheet
4-1.
because it's maybe Victor's last hurrah with Harry until Varane comes in. So no clean sheet.
One last ride.
Julio, score prediction.
3-1.
Scorers, if you want. 3-1.
3-1. It's going to be a very open game. Leeds like to do the high press as usual. With the Calvin Phillips led midfield na, oh my God, 6-1 sabi ni Bon. I'm going to stick with 3-1 pa rin. I do see Pogba nicking a goal, given na kasi si Bruno Fernandes eh. But I do like to see either Daniel James or Jadon Sancho running at their defense. It's going to be a very open game. Major factor here is not just the players responding to whatever Oli will be saying to them. Kasi this is a derby eh. This is a derby. This is the Wars of the Roses eh. So there's a factor kasi there that the crowd will and should be behind these players eh. Lalo na yan, pwede na yung mga visiting teams na yung crowd nila na pwede na pumunta sa mga games din. So there's a factor coming in. And I hope the players will respond. With that being said, I'm sure United can definitely win this match as compared to last season na medyo freaky yung 6-2 eh. And then nung nakita sila sa Ellen Road, naging 0-0. So things will change definitely. So we'll see.
divide by
Definitely
2,
we'll
1.
see a win.
Average pala yun.
We'll see, definitely.
Gab, what's your score prediction and scorers?
I have two predictions. that will happen in the so I will predict 3-0. I agree na we will round to form in goal. I feel Bruno will score from the penalty. And our man of the match will be David De Gea because I feel he's coming into the season with the redemption in his mind. He didn't start for Spain. He lost his number one slot to Henderson, right? And he's entering his 10th year. Parang all is set up for a DDG comeback in my view. So kahit na may Lindelof and Harry Maguire partnership dyan, DDG is gonna take care of us this match.
All right. I think factor in yung kay Varane, no, that he speaks Spanish. So I guess that kind of helps the defense out also. Ken, score prediction.
2-0.
2-0. Wow.
Yep.
Conservative.
Yep. I think we're gonna yun nga, with DDG having a point to prove and Lindelof fighting for his United career. I think defense will have a solid game. I'm not seeing a fluid offense yet, considering Jadon, pero we have Bruno Pogba there. Parang BDO lang yan. They'll find ways.
Although, sana for the better, diba? I'm going with 2-0. With Maguire scoring at least one from the corner. I mean, that's a good omen from the preseason. Sakto yung corner ni Luke Shaw. I mean, that Euros help a lot in their chemistry. And, sabi nga our biggest signing this season is our set piece coach. so it worked out in the
Eric
preseason.
Ramsey.
Yeah, hopefully it works out for the rest of the year. So guys, Kent, G, Carl, Julio, and Gab, thank you for joining us today in Pinoy Shufflelanders. To our viewers today, thank you for joining us in the live chat. We'll see you next week. Can be a Thursday night or another Saturday special like this one. Hopefully, we get the first win of the season tonight. So until the next episode, let me set this up and see you. Glory, glory. Man United.
Bye.